Maybe the elections really are a popularity contest. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 celebrities we wish were Prime Minister.
Did you just look at me? Did you? Look at me! Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're only looking at all the people we think would be great or at least entertaining politicians. We derived our picks from your lovely suggestions on our community tab poll, so without further ado, let's get silly. Number 10, Romesh Ranganathan.
I've got 3 children and I regret it. I do. It's too many people. What can you do? You can't kill them.
With shows like Judge Romesh and the Ranga Nation already under his belt, this guy's already a proven dab hand at diplomacy, most of the time. But what makes Romesh an especially likely candidate is his unmoving, deadpan, merciless take on the world. He suffers no fools and he'd get things done.
£3,000 for 3 music videos.
Yeah. £1,000 each.
Thank you very much. I did used to be a maths teacher, but thanks for clarifying.
And it'd all be wonderfully hilarious to watch. And let's not forget, before comedy, Romesh was a high school maths teacher, so the unruly House of Commons should be a piece of cake. Number 9, Lee Mack.
You're all looking at me. I feel like I'm in a zombie film.
If there's one man who can weasel his way out of any kind of trouble, it's certainly Lee Mack, who's been coming up with lies on Would I Lie to You that are almost as convoluted as Brexit for quite some time. Whether this talent would only be used to save his own skin and not the entire country's is anyone's guess, however.
I won't go too graphic, but let's just say I went to the toilet and it went out a lot quicker than it came in.
As a veteran comic, he'd also be able to fare well in interviews, bringing out one-liners to distract from the relevant issues if things got a bit too hot. On the other hand, not going out is confirmed to keep running until at least 2022, so who knows if he has enough time to do both.
Just rev it! It's going nowhere near me!
Number 8, Richard Ayoade.
So, gentlemen, are you prepared to open the doors to your minds and travel to worlds hitherto undreamed of?
He's frequently proven that he can do it all, remaining entertainingly awkward and aloof at the same time. Maybe Ayawade's talents can stretch to taking over at Downing Street. He does have a law degree after all. It's hard to imagine what kind of job he'd do, but despite his evident disdain for interacting with people throughout his career, he's always remained inherently likeable.
No. This is idiot.
Maybe he'd just find himself in Downing Street one day and manage to turn around the economy and sort out Brexit without even really trying, but would hate every second of his time in office.
Fair enough. You take the reins on this one, Dag, but make sure your methods are orthodox.
Number 7, Olivia Colman. She's Queen Anne on the big screen, Queen Elizabeth on the small, and she's also Sophie from Peep Show. A versatile actress, no doubt, but Olivia Colman's an influential figure off-screen too. With any luck, in a world where she actually did run for PM, she'd enlist her pals Mitchell and Webb for her campaign tour, turning British politics into must-see comedy.
Are you trying to humiliate me?
And if her official speeches pan out anything like her Oscar acceptance speech, then we'd have a Prime Minister partial to blowing the odd raspberry in public. What's not to like?
The mobility of your face is not something that our lovely Queen shares.
No.
Yeah. So, how hard is that for you?
I'm suspended from the ceiling.
Number 6, Kit Harington.
Look in the camera 3 there and just give a good, ready, give it a wink, like, hey, how you doing?
Jon Snow might not be the king of Westeros, but maybe he can be the leader of some other country only a little bit less chaotic. Now Game of Thrones is over, Kit Harington probably has a ton of free time on his hands to step up and take control of Downing Street.
How are you dealing with the pressure?
Will you excuse me just for 1 second?
It surely has to be easier than trying to defeat the Night King after all, and we know he'll do what it takes for the good of the country. Plus, how could Brexit possibly end any worse than Game of Thrones Season 8 with Jon Snow in charge? Number 5. Peter Capaldi. It's practically destiny that one day the British public might vote in the Doctor as Prime Minister. He's the most quintessential British character who exists, second only to Sherlock Holmes.
I expanded the definition of humanity.
Since it was always Capaldi's dream to be the Doctor, now he's accomplished it, he can move on to an even more ambitious role. Then again, the Doctor himself was once elected president of Gallifrey and didn't exactly stick around to do a good job.
This is it. I'm afraid.
Of course, Capaldi also has plenty of relevant experience playing Malcolm Tucker, the most feared spin doctor in the government. Public addresses would be interesting, to say the least.
No. Get out of my f***ing sight.
Number 4. Stephen Fry. Perhaps the most obvious choice of all, Stephen Fry would breeze through a general election just on the merits of his career. He might not even have to campaign at all. Though if he did, he would definitely destroy the opposition.
I must play it cool.
Few candidates have ever been as competent as Fry has already proven himself to be, holding numerous degrees, being politically engaged, and one of Britain's most beloved public figures.
Good morning, Mrs. Watson. Have you had breakfast? Stanley here does a wonderful deviled kidney.
He certainly knows a lot more than plenty of serving MPs and politicians, and has played high-ranking characters like fictional prime ministers and even the Duke of Wellington more than once.
How dare you sit, sir, in the presence of your betters? Get up! Oh, Christ, yes, I forgot. You speak when you're spoken to! Unless you'd rather be flayed across a gun carriage?
Number 3. Charles Dance.
Never mind that now, we have something important to discuss.
Don't be fooled by the aristocrats Dance has a tendency to play. He comes from a working-class background and has always remained humble. That said, pretending to be from society's upper echelons could be great experience to serve a tenure in Downing Street, and he could probably frighten Parliament into behaving themselves.
Your funding is up, and our patience has expired.
On the other hand, he's been known to turn down plenty of iconic roles, including James Bond, and if he was scared of ruining 007, then he might also be scared of ruining the country. And he was recently seen encouraging Godzilla to wreak chaos, which doesn't bode well.
You seem like a baddie, but are you really?
No, just misguided.
Number 2, Matt Berry.
I have a terrific sense of humour. It's just very dry. Often mistaken for having no sense of humour at all.
If anyone's capable of making themselves heard over the jeering of British Parliament, it has to be Matt Berry, whose best asset is his distinctive voice. He'd certainly be able to keep the attention of a crowd too, and his speeches would be a lot more entertaining than their usual dry fare.
I don't think I've ever looked in this drawer. Wow, a gun!
On the other hand, Douglas Renham isn't really who you trust to run a competent cabinet, since he did a pretty bad job taking over at Renham Industries. But he's also recently taken on the mantle of immortal vampire Laszlo, and a vampire can't be much worse than some of the people we've had in number 10.
Nadia is my wife. I should cut your head off.
Number 1, David Attenborough.
He said that was we were charged by a rhino.
And here he is, your most voted choice for Celebrity PM. Climate change is the greatest threat to humanity right now, so who better to lead Britain into a new green age than Sir David Attenborough? The UK has been making slow progress towards becoming more eco-friendly, but with him in charge, he could certainly steer us in a better direction.
We will make the problem with oil and coal and other carbon problems disappear.
An advocate of many charitable causes with deep empathy for the natural world, he's got more than a dozen species named after him and almost as many accolades, as well as no shortage of honorary degrees. We need a Prime Minister who puts the planet first and profits second, and he could be the right man for the job.
Sorry, I'm not going to go into what stands out if I'm a naturist.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.